So I've noticed that for a huge portion of maps, I'm saying, oh, this is one people are probably looking forward to. I seem to be under the impression that there are a lot of iconic levels in this set, and I believe that's justified. So anyway, the second fight of this map, or I guess third, the first lock-in is quite hard. That's why I try saving armor, because like I want all the armor I can get for that room. So I would just restart this hit scan portion over and over. Sorry, the music is as quiet as it can go. Interesting thing about this room, by the way, there are Manx. There's only one set of walls behind me, and there are voodoos behind the wall. So I have had a couple runs end because the Manx shot through the wall and hit a voodoo, which, hey, pretty weird. Hey. Oh, I was so embarrassed. I was testing out the new DSGA version, like as it was coming out. And on this map, I found the secret, and I was like, oh, why is this texture broken? I think, Zazer, can you, check out the new OpenGL? What's going on? Meanwhile, the texture is just messed up because it's a secret. Like, that's the point. So, that was silly. So this area is easy. However, you really don't want to be taking any damage, because after this, the like actual fight, it's hard. And this is one of those times where I'm going to talk about difficulty versus how forgiving the fight is. I do think it's a rather forgiving fight, because all the enemies are imps. So if you make one mistake, it's not so bad. I did die in this room once, and it was a little upsetting. It's like 4 rows should be able to deal with this. And some random shotgunner. Yeah, Nirvana made his video about monster placement, so now I'm just gonna say, oh, it's a bad map if I see a shotgunner. That's what Nirvana told me to do, okay? You can watch his video, okay? That's exactly what it says. It doesn't talk, there's no nuance. It just says, if there's a shotgun, it's a bad level. So, this fight, I tried cheesing it a lot, but as it turned out, the best method was just to do it. And I looked into the editor a bit and did some trial and error, and I found the imps, they come from one main spawner. So you're not going to clear out like the left imps if you just focus on them. What you want to do is spread out your shots. See, I'm only shooting one hit per like swing, you know? That way you're getting as much damage out of your splash as possible. So eventually a lot of the imps die and you can clear out nice hits. So yeah, it's a stressful fight, but some of the lack of stress. Ooh, this is something I don't think I've talked about before. Sometimes fights in harder levels are less stressful because I expect them to be difficult. Whereas, like, the one slightly harder fight in an easier map. Like, that's scary, because I'm like, oh, if I fail this, I'm doubling the amount of attempts I'm going to take. I felt that quite a bit playing Antaresian Reliquary. They usually have a harder fight at the end. You know, nothing crazy. But oh, the weird texture. That was the secret. Yeah. And it opens up that megasphere. But I don't want to hit the switch yet. Because that opens up the Archvile and the bonus fight, which, well, I want the BFG before I do that. So, you know. So we finally get a BFG, and we're going to spend it on some revs. So, I took the Megasphere by accident, but it happened to be at a good time. Using BFG against revs in a hallway scenario is so difficult, because you want to back up, but you really can't afford to. See how when I start using the rocket launcher, I'm taking way less damage. So I will say, the middle section of this level is pretty easy. The first fight, you gotta get lucky with the hit scanners. The imp section, I actually don't think that's as hard as I thought it was. I think a lot of the difficulty was me trying to cheese it for a while, but once I started doing a better strategy, it was way more consistent. Oh, and I think I want to designate this map. It would probably have been 21. I wanted to think, like, what's the level that separates the first 2/3 from the final third? And I guess that's 21. That's the usual episode spot anyway. I know episodes don't really exist in Doom 2, but there are the intermission screens? Text screens? Text screens. But if you're going based off intermission screens, then this is also nothing too crazy. Well, that's what I say, but in a lot of my runs, I almost die. You see me barely getting through here, being a dumb, stupid head, and not using my extra BFG shot against those pinkies and risking the cybruiser blowing me up. But once you get down here, you're safe. Don't worry. Once we get out of this hallway section, we're gonna be back to doing wacky stuff, okay? So what does designate the different episodes in Doom 2? I feel like everyone agrees. It's 1 to 11, 12 to 20, and 21 to 30. So why is it so ubiquitous then? Is it the skybox? Maybe it's because the skybox changes. Maybe it's just intermission screen, text screen, but also we don't want to make 1 through 6 and 7 through 11 its own episode, because that would be too small. I think this Revenant punches me, if I remember right. Or he tried to. That was funny. Oh, watching myself pick up these boxes of rockets. 10 at a time. 200 rockets. Because I've gotten back to playing Abandon. And, as of recording, I streamed map 5 earlier today, I think? Might have been yesterday. I think it was today. And finally got through map 5. But let me tell you, oh man, I miss getting big pockets. Getting to carry. I feel like Atlas. And no, Atlas is strong. It's not like he has capacity. I don't know. I feel like a guy who can carry a lot of objects when I play NoSp2. That's my comparison. Whereas I'm playing Abandon, and it's like, oh man, I better make sure that I leave the ammo boxes near where I'm doing the fight, so when I need to replenish, I'll still have access. Whereas here, it's like, well, I just have basically infinite ammo. Well, not infinite ammo. You can't waste your ammo. But you're not like managing pickups during the fight unless it's a really long fight. So anyway, we've finally gotten to the finale. The finale is crazy. So you see it's a big room. There are going to be vials in the center. I don't actually know how long it takes them to get crushed, but when they do get crushed, they get pain state, which means infinite range, which means bad things. So, you hit the switch. I go for the Manx, because it's hard to dodge them. And then I chill here for a moment. So, let me pause for a second, okay? And look at the map, alright? Oh, it's gonna keep playing as I have the map open. Well, just take a look at the map for a second, okay? When I go in the teleporter, it takes me to the other side of the room. See how all the enemies were grouped up on the right? That's because they were trying to path towards me when I was on the other half, right? So that's really my strategy for this fight. I want things to group up as much as I can, and I want to use imps to protect me from revenants. That went through the wall. I wish I could give more of like a big brain strat, but the truth is I just tried a lot of different routes, and this particular route seemed to work really well. And eventually you gotta hide under here from the vials. So we started by going down, kill some Manx, hide in the first Manx closet, then wait a little bit, then teleport, go all the way down, go all the way back, rather quickly, teleport, go all the way down, stay in the little corner, then do a loop, teleport again, and the vials will be dead. That was the cleanest I've done this fight. Like, that was beautiful. I remember actually sending someone a message on Discord. That was just that sequence I just said, where it's like, go up, go down, kill the Manx, stay in the spot, all that stuff. Because it's pretty complicated. I couldn't explain like every step of that to you. I don't know. A lot of it is trial and error. I'm not like... I can say broadly, I want enemies to path to a location where it's going to be inconvenient for them to kill me. But, you know, it was mostly trial and error. So, I'm gonna do us all the favor and speed up this cleanup. I took an inordinate amount of time to do this because it was the first time that I actually got through that finale. So I was like super spooked, you know? Playing some Batman now. Playing as Red Hood. This part is so silly. But, hey, it's anti-cheese, I get it. You know the Predator maps for the Arkham games? Sometimes the last thing you gotta do is pretty hard. So what I'll do, I'll get the last guy for the last challenge. In this case it says do a smash takedown. And I'm just doing consecutive stuns until I push him under a glass ceiling, and then I'm gonna do a super stun. So he gets knocked down. And then when he gets up, I'll be above the glass. It's so silly. Alright, so, you might be wondering, hey, you still have 1,000 enemies left, and another secret, but you said it was a finale. Well, it is NoSp2, there are secret fights, and if you remember, when we hit that secret switch in this room, and we got the Megasphere, it opened up that switch, which I didn't bother pressing. It wasn't an anti-softlock switch. That switch opens up an arch file. What is this arch file for? An arch file jump, which I figured out by myself, by the way. I didn't watch a demo. And we find this mess. The floor is lava. It's only 5 damage. It's not that bad. And we have, well, probably 800 barons. I didn't count, but probably 800, right? We're dealing with 1,000 monsters. Makes sense here. There are 4 megas throughout the arena, maybe 3. So get a look at the map. On each of the little like square platforms is a megasphere, including the one you teleport onto. So 4 plus the one you get when you come in. And there are 3 switches. Those are the little like rectangles. When you hit all 3 switches, the cybruisers are going to get crushed. And, well, if you're doing this fight, you're doing a uvmax. So, you're going to be left with hundreds upon hundreds of barons if you do that. And hitting the switches when barons are alive is pretty hard. So, you need to wait and let the cybruisers kill the barons. And let me tell you, and you can, I don't have to tell you, you can watch, but doing commentary, so like you're obliged to say, it takes a really long time. There are a lot of barons, cybruisers aren't actually that aggressive. And they only shoot 1 rocket at a time. Luckily the green projectiles do hurt the barons. Infighting doesn't like do a projectile like are you the right projectile? It asks, are you a projectile thrown by same species, or Hell Knight and Baron. They get, you know, cross exceptions for each other. So, yeah. Now, maybe you think you're fancy, okay? And you say, well, I'm gonna crush the cybruisers early. Okay, whatever. I can go get ammo from the final room. There was so much on the ground. And I planned it so my final room would be really clean and not need all that many cells, which isn't what I did, by the way. But hypothetically. Well, remember how we got here with an archvile jump? Yeah, good luck doing that multiple times. So, I think the main thing... This was the first time I got to this fight, by the way. It's, my heart was racing over here. It's so stressful, just running back and forth. But I tried to make it as much of a route as possible. And it looks like it worked out. The biggest thing, really, is don't be too scared of the lava. Yeah, when you hit all 3 switches, this opens up, which is a confirmation you hit all 3. And it also means you can hide over here. So, what helped a lot, routing this room and making sure I beat it first try, was, A, understanding, like, the shape. The shape is pretty strange, you know, it's not just a square. It's got these weird Tetris pieces. And 2, being willing to be patient, and obviously you need to watch for rockets. I think that's a given. It's a given all the time. But also, being willing to take some damage from the floor. You gotta. You're just not gonna get away with trying to be too fast. And if you're not in the lava, well, you're gonna get hit by splash damage. And splash damage is like 30, 40 or so. We're talking about way more damage than, you know, taking 5 per second would do. But we got it. So the only thing left is to deal with that archvile who we used to get over here in the first place. And that is that. Oh, I think I go for the item, if I remember. I think I did. No, I didn't. So that's a... wow. Iconic map. Paradigm shift. What a title, too. I think you should play NoSp2. That's it. I'm saying that for all of these. Alright, next.